Hey everyone, I'm Levi Baer. Usually I use Ignite to talk about funny farm stories, but today I'm going to talk about something a little bit more relevant. How any of us and each of us can take some steps towards this greater social change moment that we're in. I have a background doing work in community building and equity, and so I have a couple ideas I want to share around what each and any of us can do. Now, I want to give a heads up that I am going to reference things around police violence, but I'm not going to talk about the descriptions of them or share any images of them. So back in 2014, I got some friends together and we got together to talk about Ferguson, Missouri and Michael Brown's death. And we said, what can any of us do in relation to this? And a lot of us said family is the area where we should talk. So I got together with some of my family. This is them. My aunt is the second to the left, and I decided to have a conversation with her in the car while we were driving. I started it by saying, what do you know about Michael Brown's death? We talked about whether or not Michael Brown had a gun or not. He didn't. And where she got certain information from Fox News. And it got so good and intense that we were able to pull over the car and really talk about this. I think what this space we made allowed her to do was see me and my blackness more as a man in America, as a black man in America. I think she got to understand that black experience, one that might relate to some degree to Michael Brown's a little bit more through me. For example, I said, Aunt, do you know that people cross the street away from me probably because I'm a black man? That was news for her. So I was able to work with these people that I know, and they were able to relate to someone else's experience. These are more of my family members. They were able to relate to experiences through me. Now, what I think we were doing was this concept that I think of as trusted spaces. These are experiences that allow us to explore new ideas and understand things better through people we know and trust. Things like race that are tricky and difficult. They allow us to be wrong, which is super important. They allow us to repair any little harms that we make because we have a foundation for that. And it allows us to ask dumb questions. For example, when I was in high school, a woman asked me, do black people have black bones? Well, nowadays, people are asking more harmful versions of those questions, like, why don't black people stop being poor? Or why do black people keep hurting each other so much? These are questions that we may need to ask if we're going to make progress. Those are examples of dumb questions. Now, I think that this is creating influence. When we have these conversations one-on-one, we influence an area. So this is the retirement community of mostly white old people that my aunt lives in. And I think my conversation with her can influence this space. I call that a sphere of influence. This is somewhere where we can actually hold power and make a difference in a group of people and those individuals. It takes trust and empathy to be able to make these connections, and we can do that inside of those spaces. But also it's where growth is needed, and it's where we can make a difference. Now, heads up, I want you to start to think about where those are for you. There's different kinds of spheres of influences in our lives. I mentioned family already, but this might be friends. Here's a picture of me and some of my friends who have had a lot of influence exchanged between us. It could be people at the gym that you see a lot. It could be spaces of worship and places of worship. It could be roommates. There's a lot of different spaces where we can hold this effect. I'm talking about a ripple effect where the people who are close to you impact the people close to them, and so on. We're all familiar with this. We're able to impact people that are far away from us by holding space with the people near us. I keep thinking of this example of this National Guard person from this Instagram video. The crowd is chanting, I'm black and I'm proud, I'm black and I'm proud. And you see him start to chant it too. Well, I keep thinking about who's in his life. I don't know why he's in the National Guard or what his stances are, but I think about the people he might influence after this moment where he starts chanting with the crowd. Could he talk to other people in the army? Could he change other police officers' minds? I think about those moments where people are making certain decisions, where that police officer is choosing to pull a trigger, kneel on someone's neck, choke someone. I'm thinking about how each of those officers or people enacting harms are human who has their own network around them. And I wonder who from that network could have a conversation with them. What are the 20 conversations that could happen with them that would have them actually start to believe that Black Lives Matter? So I want to leave you with this. As you start to think about where you can have these conversations, start by asking those people, what do you think about blank? Or what do you know about defunding the police, Black Lives Matter, these situations? Please don't use shame when you're doing this, and ask questions. Find out what people know. That's, I think, our steps to getting started. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you later.